Greetings, scholars. I am Professor Megan Falconer, and welcome to week 2 of ENC 1102. I'm really looking forward to reviewing all of your academic engagement activities or your getting to know you type videos that you created for us last week. So I thought I would take a moment to introduce myself to you so you can put a face to the name, as well as address some of the content and possible concerns of what we'll be working with and an overview of the course in general. So hopefully by now you have gotten your textbooks from Inquiry to Academic Writing by my friends Stuart Green and April Ladinsky, or Stewie G as I like to call him. Please don't tell him I said that. Also Easy Writer by Andrea Lunsford. You should have the 6th edition, the 2019 update. It is important that you have this particular copy, and if you are concerned as far as ISBNs or anything like that, or you have questions, please let me know. There is some content specific to this particular volume that will have a lot to do with the work we do later on in the semester. That being said, so a little bit about me. I have been at UCF for a very long time because, like where you are now, I completed both my undergraduate and graduate degrees from University of Central Florida. So I have taken courses as a student online and face-to-face. I know a lot of the struggles and challenges that presents from my own experiences, so hopefully we can avoid a lot of those issues as we work together for this class. I live over on the east coast of Florida, so I'm about an hour from campus, and I get to watch rockets launch from my living room window, which I absolutely love. I think the space program is really, really cool, and it's one of my favorite things about living here in this area. I am the proud mother of a 3-year-old son, and the proud spouse to a person as well. And originally, I was born and raised in New York on Long Island. Hopefully my accent won't ever betray me. I've been in Florida for about 16 years now, so it's only on rare occasions that it escapes, and it's typically when I'm really angry. So hopefully you'll never have any reason to hear my Long Island accent sneak in. My research areas include, along with writing and rhetoric, I'm interested in the theories of metacognition and transfer theory. And I'm also a American modernist literature scholar, so I spent a lot of time working with Hemingway, Fitzgerald, some Faulkner, and some Twain. Those are my passion authors, and if you ever want to discuss any of that with me outside of class, I'm happy to accommodate you. I'm a big-time movie fan, television fan. I'm into Star Wars, the Marvel universe, a little bit of the DC universe. There's not too much there to get into. And you'll see me using a lot of that content in the GIFs and memes that I choose to put in the PowerPoint, so no surprises there. Anything else about me? What I would like to get from this class, from you, is a sense of the things that are the most important for you in terms of skills. So a brief overview about how ENC 1102 is going to work is that the focus of this particular course, as I'm sure you've gathered from the syllabus, but let's just make sure we're all on the same page. The focus of this course is to teach you how to kind of take command of your academic writerly identity. The largest assignment for this class coming up, it'll be due in April, is the academic article. That is going to be your 10 to 12 page write-up of both primary and secondary research you'll be conducting throughout the semester. When I say primary research, I mean the research that you have gone out, observations you have conducted, and analysis of those, along with secondary research, which will be finding the other voices in the conversation around your topic. So you're going to hear me talk about argument, academic conversation. That's a large part of what we're talking about, because we are now situating ourselves. Part of our academic identity, as of right now, as of this class, is your blossoming writerly identity. And we'll be expressing it primarily in academic forms for the semester, but you do have the chance to do a fair bit of reflecting, which is more personal style of writing. It's not to say that it's less formal per se, but it is more, the content, it feels a little less formal because you're drawing from your own experiences and making connections to the growth that you're accomplishing. So there's that big academic article. I don't say that to scare you. There are many, many smaller assignments that will work towards and be parts of that large assignment. So don't let that overwhelm you. We'll be working on it together. The core principle for this particular teaching theory or pedagogy, for those of you that are education theory people, is a writing about writing approach to ENC 1102. That means the reading and the work we do has to do with the act of writing. This is not a literature course where you're going to read Shakespeare and then pick a theme and write an essay about it. Instead, the readings that we're doing are specifically targeted to help introduce you, acquaint you, and strengthen your skills in writing, and in particular academic writing. And then we apply those skills hands-on with our smaller assignments, and then ultimately building into our large assignment. So it's kind of like a working nuts and bolts of the foundation for this particular class. Now you're going to get into a little bit more of that in the theoretical concepts that we're going to discuss this week, or that you're going to read my discussions of this week. And it's important that you understand where we're coming from, because again, this is a shift. As a side note, I did mention primary research. Now, some of you that may know people who have taken this class with other professors where they were able to conduct, they were able to do basically human research, surveys, interviews, things like that. We are not taking that approach for this semester. I don't want to make any more work for you than absolutely necessary. There's enough that we can do and apply the concepts of writing studies to without you having to go out and create your own material as well. So the focus of this class is going to be on analyzing genres. Start thinking of them as existing acts of communication. So as we discussed last week, or we saw last week with Dirk, we're moving above the let's call it the gen pop definition of genre. This goes outside of and beyond the idea of a bookstore or a music store or even Netflix, where things are organized by like common trends. So think in a bookstore, fiction, nonfiction, sci-fi, horror, romance, etc. Music would be classical, hip-hop, rap, pop, country, rock. Netflix is always fun because they'll have, comedies, comedy, drama, action, and then they have the weird outliers like award-winning movies, or my favorite is when you'll be searching through, whether it's Amazon or Netflix or HBO Go, insert streaming platform of choice, and you're like, I'm in the mood for a comedy, and you start scrolling through comedies, and about 5 or 6 titles in, you'll see like The Fault in Our Stars or Schindler's List, and it's like, ooh, bold choice, Netflix. I did not consider that a comedy. Okay, but that's like that general, and probably the definition that you brought into this class is that genres are things that we categorize. When I say writing, it basically is forms of communication, right? Because writing can be more than just words on a page, fingers to keyboard, or pen to paper. Anytime a message is composed for an audience, that's considered like an act of communication. We apply the content and concepts of composition because we're considering the reason that it's being created, who the audience is, the way the message is tailored to reach that particular audience. All of those things, regardless of the platform through which the message is delivered, have writing studies elements that are applicable to them. So start thinking broader than just sci-fi, horror, fiction, nonfiction, etc. when it comes to genres. Start thinking about acts of communication, repeating acts of communication that you see every single day, that you're a part of, that you don't even think about as being a genre, that you can start considering as maybe potential subjects that you could be researching. Start thinking every day as you encounter certain things. It doesn't have to be just academic. In fact, the majority of the writing you encounter that fits into the profile of genre is not academic. Think about menus. Menus are a genre. They have repeating features, and it's to serve a particular purpose. If you went into a restaurant and saw a menu that had, it was organized by just listing their food. There's no like appetizers, salads, entrees, desserts. It was mashed potatoes, cheesecake, meatloaf, eggs and bacon. And after probably having a moment to say, no, I'll just have a water and leave, thank you, I don't trust you to make my food if you don't know how to organize a menu, think about all those repeating acts of communication we see. We see that in resumes, we see it in traffic tickets, we see it in medical reports, we see it in the way possibly we take notes, we see it in Instagram, Twitter, YouTube comments, YouTube videos, Reddit, subreddit, the way that we communicate in video game streaming. There's just an enormous variety of opportunity of encounters every day that you're taking part of genres and how they function. So next week we're going to start really applying those concepts into trying to help you start to think about the topic you'll be researching for the semester-long projects and large project. But for now, just start letting these ideas marinate and resonate and see where you're encountering them in your everyday lives. So this week we have a couple of assignments. One of them is going to be the muddiest point assignment. It's a discussion board posting. I'm not going to spoil it all by explaining it to you right now. You can go take a look at it. But it's really important that you reach out to me throughout the semester when there are things that are unclear to you. Don't operate on assumptions or feeling like I don't get it, I must be the only one because she's moving forward with this content and I'm not understanding how it's applicable. This is very different than a face-to-face course where I have the opportunity to gauge your understanding based on the facial response that I get while I'm lecturing. So it's kind of like lecturing to an empty room. It might make perfect sense to me. I'm familiar with this content. I'm familiar with the concepts. You may not be as familiar. And if there's something that is catching you up or slowing you down, or you're just kind of like, I thought it meant this and I can see it means this, am I missing something, or is there a disconnect between the two? Whatever it may be, I'm creating a muddiest point discussion board this week, and I'll do it repeatedly throughout the semester where I rely on you to give me feedback on areas that you're still unclear of, because as we're working through this, it's really important that we're all sharing like a core foundational set of terms and concepts that we all feel comfortable enough with that we can start to build upon. Because if we start building on misrepresentations of concepts or concepts we're not clear of, you're not going to be as successful throughout the rest of the semester. That being said, I also have to tell you that this semester requires a lot of I don't want to say pressure, but I have to say that the directive in terms of your learning, a lot of it lies on you. I assign readings. We have weekly things that you'll be completing online. It can be through a variety of medium. It could be quizzes. It could be discussion postings. It can be a smattering. There's going to be a lot of writing you're going to have to complete. But it is essential that you are someone who does not procrastinate. As soon as you start to fall behind, it becomes very difficult to catch up. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me again if I can provide any feedback or clarification. It is my pleasure. You're welcome to come visit me on campus during office hours. I love to see you face to face, because otherwise you'll remain this person who I just have maybe like a little avatar picture of for the semester, and I never really get to speak with you. You can also make appointments to Skype with me if it's not convenient for you to come to campus. We can find ways to make it work, and we can work through any issues or problems or challenges you're facing. So I hope you had a chance to read through the syllabus, take a chance to look through everything for this week, and that you have had a successful week 1, and you're just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to jump into week 2, and we can start putting rubber to road, so to speak, and really working with a lot of these ideas, and so we can start to apply them towards your future success as writers. Because really, that is the point of all of this, is for you to leave this class with some skills that you'll be able to use outside of class as well as inside of the rest of your academic career. I am having a Liam Neeson moment with my very particular set of skills for those of you that have seen Taken. But the reason we don't teach literature along with an essay, so like I mentioned in the video a few minutes ago, the reason that unlike a lot of composition programs across the country, UCF is very different. We're not asking you to read Beowulf or Shakespeare or Catcher in the Rye and then write an essay on it, because if you're a biology major or a medical major or an engineering major, or basically any major other than a literature major, that is not going to necessarily benefit you outside of the classroom. Instead, if you can look at your writing as you have come into this class, your writing identity, the past experiences that have brought you to where you are, so you can have an understanding. If you have anxiety about writing, where does that come from? Is it the pressure of being judged and graded? Is it the pressure of composition itself, that you're worried about mechanics and grammar? Is it that you've only ever had to write for school, so you don't know writing to be a joyous thing? But if you start with a base of understanding where you are now, and then through the content of this class, where we consider extensively the act of writing, the audience, how to write for particular situations, those are skills you can then transfer throughout your life and in a variety of arenas. Because once you become successful of knowing how one type of writing works, you can then figure out how writing will work in other situations. One of the key components of the writing about writing pedagogy is that while writing skills are transferable, meaning you can take the skills that you have acquired and use them to be successful in other areas, there's no one set way of writing that you can learn that is usable across every type of writing situation. It's not like you can learn how to write in Pig Latin and then write everything your entire life in Pig Latin and always be successful. It's not like that. So because writing is not just a set style that works for every occasion, if you can figure out how to do, or what makes one particular type of writing successful and what makes you a better writer in general, you can then take those skills outside of the classroom. Okay, that's enough for this week. I look forward to, again, viewing your replies, your video replies, and getting to work with you this semester. And I look forward to working to what we have coming up in the upcoming weeks. All right, take care and have a wonderful rest of week 2. Bye-bye.